Welcome, everyone. It's Monday night. We're glad you're here.
Day one of BOGOs, and you guys are the ultra committed. I love
it. So we're super excited for tonight. First of all, just a reminder why we gather. It's because we have learned a lot, good and bad. We've also seen a lot of people build this business for better or for worse. So we like to share those things that we're learning.
What works.
What works, yes. We're going to share on time management tonight, which is kind of a boring topic. I'm not good at thinking of like flashy names of things, but
time management is incredibly important for what we do in our business. So
we're going to talk about that after Kristen shares a little bit about the vagus nerve. I don't even know what she's going to talk about. And then if you have questions, feel free to put them in the chat and we will get to them at the end. So we'll get through everything and we'll stop recording and we'll have a Q&A for as long as we need.
So I just learned something really cool this week. And whenever I learn cool, I always love to share it with other people. So I wanted to share it with you guys this week because I'm sure at some point during the BOGOs, there is going to be a BOGO that's going to be specifically made to support our emotions and to help bring your body into a state of calm. And so a lot of you guys are probably familiar when your body is stressed, under stress, it will get into fight or flight mode, which means when you're in fight or flight mode, it means your body is no longer digesting food. Your heart rate is going fast. You're breathing fast. Your hormones are elevated. Basically you're stressed, and everybody knows like when you're stressed for really long periods of time, it's not good for your body. So this is a cool little diagram that is from my Modern Essentials book, but ultimately what it talks about is the sympathetic nervous system, which is when your body is in fight or flight mode, you're in sympathetic nervous system land. And when you are more relaxed, you go to parasympathetic state. That's when you're relaxed. So one really cool thing that I learned, I never knew this before, I was listening to, is that right here, there is a nerve that runs all the way down your body. And that is called the vagus nerve. So if you want to look it up, you can. But basically the vagus nerve is what helps bring your body into parasympathetic state, aka it helps you to relax. It helps your body to digest food the way it's supposed to. It helps your body to like calm your heart rate down, your breathing, everything. It's really important, calms your hormones down. And so something really cool that you can do with your essential oils, I would suggest that you do it with Adaptive. I did it myself and I noticed a difference almost immediately.
And you did it to me.
And I did it to him.
I melted.
Yeah. So I can't find my Adaptive, of course, I lost it, but I have this awesome blend from Dawn called Finding My Balance. Anyways, right back here behind your earlobe, like kind of right behind your jawbone is where that vagus nerve starts. So this is a great place to just apply your oils right there and then just kind of like massage it in right back there. And that is a great way to impact your vagus nerve really quickly and bring your body out of fight or flight mode, help your body to relax and experience the benefit of essential oils. So little tip for you guys, you can all share that on whatever day of BOGOs where we talk about oils for emotions.
So like what oils? Adaptive, Balance, what else?
Serenity, Copaiba, frankincense, probably any of those, any of the calming ones. Yeah. I really love Adaptive there, but
Magnolia.
Yeah, Magnolia. Mm-hmm.
Cool. All right. We're going to dive into some time management, but first, okay, we're going to take a quick pause because I had an epiphany at lunchtime today that I just have to share. And it's partially like a BOGO testimony, but what it really is
residual income.
Residual income, like a glimpse into why residual income is so amazing. Mm-hmm. And why it's worth sacrificing for, which ties into what we're going to talk about with time management. Okay, so this was the epiphany. This is day one of BOGOs. I hope everyone on here knows this. Buy On Guard, get breathe for free, 34 PV, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. For BOGO week, I track things. I was an accountant in my former life. So I just logged our team volume, or our overall volume last night. When I went to bed, I just put it into a note. At noon today, I checked our volume. And guys, it was 9,000 higher than it was when I went to bed the night before.
At noon.
At noon. It's much higher now, but this is when I had the epiphany. And so roughly, just based on the last several years of tracking our volume, tracking our income, all those things, this is not how the compensation plan works, but roughly.
Because how many levels do we have in our organization right now? Probably 10 or 11.
Yeah, no, it's more than that.
More than that, okay.
But roughly, doTERRA pays us about 10% of our total volume every month. So in my mind, that's easy math, right? What's 10%
of 9,000?
Of 9,000. It's $900.
Mm-hmm.
And right away, I'm like, oh, our mortgage is $859 every month. So like just in BOGOs today, from morning till noon, our mortgage was paid for, which is mind-blowing.
And then I dropped my phone and broke the screen. So then the rest of BOGO day went to my phone. Just kidding.
No, not really.
That's not actually true.
But
oh
yes,
my gosh, Gretchen.
Things happen. Oh, Seattle. But your view is much better than ours. Oh, yes. Okay, so guys, it's amazing. And we don't take full credit for that. Obviously, like we are a collective, we're a team. We are just in this with you guys. And we just wanted to give that glimpse of like, first of all, BOGOs are awesome. Last time I checked, our volume is up 17,000 today, which is amazing. And it's Monday. So you guys, like, this is why we want this for all of you. And this is why we have these calls on Monday nights. And we want you to implement the things that we're learning. And
why we won't stop. Tyler, before we got on this call, he was also talking about like how many On Guard oils is that and Breathe oils?
So that's 470 On Guards.
That went out to people that like it's literally going to be saving them doctor's visits. It's going to be
days, school days.
Yes.
That's less antibiotics, less Z-Packs, less contagious spreading of things.
Yes. So incredible. And like when we talk about like time management and ultimately sacrificing your time to put into doTERRA, like I'm telling you, even today, I went and taught a class and I spent an hour and a half there teaching a class for a new builder. And we enrolled one person with a kit and two people with a 35 PV and a couple kids added on. It was all older people, which sometimes, you know, like they just get overwhelmed. It's okay. And they need more teaching. So ultimately, me and this leader are talking about how we're going to do like every other week classes there, all this kind of stuff. And we're going to continue to put time and effort into it. So I tell you, like, sometimes there's those things that happen and you're like, dang, I didn't even make that much money today. But then you look, as you invest that time over and over and over into individuals and empower them to change their lifestyle, like that's when the switch happens. So again, we're not about hauling buckets here. We are about working to create a pipeline. And what that looks like during BOGO week is finding new people to share with and contacting them. I had 2 or 3 of those conversations today to enroll some new people. And then also like sharing with the people on your team and helping them with LRP and helping them understand the lifestyle more. So I hope that gets you guys all excited and envisioned for all that's to come.
Cue the whiteboard.
Yes,
okay, so
cue the
I need
whiteboard.
your help. I need you to pick that up and bring it closer.
Okay.
This is going to be a little awkward. I promise we're not going to be like this for very long. Okay, so we're going to talk about time management. And Kristen's like holding the laptop up.
Can you guys see it well?
Yeah. Okay, so if you can't, this is just a quadrant, 4 quadrants, 1, 2, 3, 4. Everything we do in doTERRA, all of our tasks fall into one of these 4 categories. So it's a matrix. So like there's important things and not important things. Then there's urgent things and not urgent things. So like quadrant 1 is important. It's something that's important, like it's a high value thing, but it's not urgent. Like it doesn't have to be done right now. Get me? Whereas important but urgent is like I don't know what something is.
Important but urgent would be like texting your team to tell them all about the BOGO and the best ways to use it.
Yeah, because that's like you have one day to do that, right? That's urgent and it's important. So this would be like BOGO. I'm not going to spend a lot. We're not going to dive deep into this. I just want you to get the framework. So then you can start thinking, and it's really a prioritization tool. Okay, so important and urgent, important and not urgent. These are things like membership overviews, business overviews, inviting, what else? Important, not urgent. Training, like this call.
Yeah.
Okay, you get the gist. Urgent but not important is like somebody, like some stranger messages you on Instagram or something.
Urgent but not important. Yeah, that's kind of hard.
It's like a false urgency. Like
you have a certain customer that texts you every single day with a question and they always want your help.
Yeah.
That can, I mean, it is important, but at times.
Yeah.
But it's more important to teach them how to find answers themselves.
Yeah. The important thing here is by not important, it means like, is it worth your time? So like, that's really what we're talking about. Worth your time, not necessarily worth your time. And then 4, not urgent, not important, like we just don't want to go here at all. Unfortunately, sometimes we do find ourselves here, like organizing oils or like, I don't know.
Sometimes like posting or scrolling on Instagram.
On Instagram.
Or Facebook. Facebook too.
Facebook, Instagram, like social media where you're not adding value and you're not building relationships or connection with people. That is not important and not urgent. That's technically not even like business time. Okay, so the idea here is we want to spend as much as our time as we can in this first quadrant. High value, important activities that build our business, membership overviews, business overviews, inviting, training. They're not necessarily urgent, but they are so important. And here's the trick. This is like the slippery slope. If we don't spend enough time here on these things start coming over here because we are not hitting our goals. Maybe we've hit a rank and we need to get back to it. Or maybe, maybe we've just lost consistency and leaders and people on our team are wondering like if we're still doing doTERRA or anything like that. So then it becomes urgent, like important and urgent, all of these things. And if you're living your whole life in this space, then that's really stressful. And that's not the life we want to live and we want to create. So the goal is to stay here. Obviously, there's always going to be important and urgent things that come up, and we want to take advantage of those. Down here, this quadrant, it's urgent but not important. So these, you want to minimize these things, delegate them if possible.
I have an example for that. Urgent but not important. Well,
and then also, I want to also add collaborate here, because as a team, as a collective, like on the Living Drop Collective website, on our Facebook pages, like there are so many resources and systems like Oil Camp, 1, 2, and 3, all the FAQs,
FAQs,
like all those things, like use those. Like that's why we spent time and money making them. So this quadrant, the urgent things, but that are not necessarily important, like any resources that are created, like can help free you from this quadrant. You want to minimize your time in this quadrant. and then focus on these two quadrants, ideally right here. So how do you get here? That's the question, and that's what we're going to talk about a little bit more. Thank you, Kristen, for holding that laptop up. Okay, so a few tips, and this is not going to be exhaustive, but just a few things that we've learned and that we've implemented that we find super helpful. So we kind of do this not perfectly. We don't do anything perfectly, but so we, especially when we have a lot going on, which has been regularly lately, we each take some time. This is typically what we do on Sundays. We each take some time to brain dump like all the things we have to do, like all the things that are just swirling around in our minds. We have to get them on paper. This is what works for us. Do you use paper? Mm-hmm. I use paper.
Usually to start, and then after that, I put it in our calendar online.
If it comes to mind, it goes on this piece of paper. Just complete brain dump. And then from that list, we prioritize. And on Sundays, we also have we used to call it a war plan meeting.
Yeah.
Now we just call it I don't know what we call it.
I say design your life. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Yeah.
Anyway, so we have a Google Calendar that we share. You can use a big paper calendar, but whatever works for you. We have a Google Calendar that we share where every Sunday we walk through day by day our work time. So like I have my work time scheduled out. Kristen has her work time scheduled out. Obviously we have 2 boys, so this fluctuates. I know a lot of you can relate with that. But what we do with our brain dump lists that we've prioritized using a lot of this is then we start plugging in those activities into those work time slots. So it's not like we get to 8:30 in the morning and it's like, okay, Tyler has work time, but then I don't know what I'm supposed to be working on. Like it's super important, especially for me, that I know like, okay, 8:30 to 9, I'm working on this. 9 to 9:30, I'm working on this. Like that's how I do it. I'm like, it's going to take me about a half an hour to do this. So I block it off. This is what I'm working on during this time. And again, trying to focus on the important but not urgent things. And Kristen does the same. Mm-hmm. So what
I just want to interject. Like, if you haven't gotten to this point, you will get to this point where like I literally could spend 2 to 3 hours every single day answering Voxer, Facebook, text message notifications. So that would be an example of like, I don't know, I guess it's definitely urgent.
Urgent, but it's not important compared to
some of the other things that I need to like push forward. And so like, for example, today you saw that I went live in the LDC and I talked about how to order on your account to maximize your points. And that was because I had multiple people that told me they wanted help with that. And I was like, oh, perfect. Do the video, tag, done. And I knew that builders would have the same thing. So I'm like, here, now it's made for everybody to use with their people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is what works for us. We schedule out our work time, and then all the things that are swirling around in our minds that we need to do, put them on paper, and then we start plugging them in. Mm-hmm. So inevitably what comes up is like Kristen's phone breaks today. Obviously it's important to have that.
I outsourced.
So Kristen tagged me and said, hey, I need help. So the things that I had scheduled for about an hour, thankfully we have a great iPhone repair place not too far from us, and they will turn it around in about an hour. And it wasn't broken horribly. So,
yeah, he got it fixed.
So things like that happen.
Yeah.
And kids, like naps, bedtime, school, all those things happen. But that's where the prioritizing really comes in handy.
Yeah.
Because it's really, so if you're in that season of life, maybe you don't know when exactly you're going to have work time or how long it's going to be. hashtag naps, right? So that's where it's like priorities. Like you just start with your list, and as far as you can get down your list, if it's a 45-minute nap, then you get 45 minutes worth of priorities done. If it's an hour and a half, then you get an hour and a half or 2 hours. Or I envy the 3-4 hour nap people.
And just going back to what we said at the beginning about residual income, I can't tell you how many times during a nap I have been like, I just want to sit and read a book and drink tea. Or I just want to sit and do laundry and not think about anything else. Just do laundry like other stay-at-home moms. But no, I am telling you, I can't even tell you how many naps I have spent being like, okay, what's on the top of my to-do list? And is it always something I want to do? No, but it like has been so worth it over time. And obviously you guys see the lifestyle now that we live as a full-time family, and I would never trade it. So I'm just saying, like, I just wanted to acknowledge that the most important things sometimes are not what you want to do in those moments. And the more consistent you get at like prioritizing them and just being in a routine, that consistency piece, the easier it will be to continue to flex that muscle of doing what is important for your business. Because what I found anyways is when I get out of my normal flow of, say, inviting people to classes or sharing samples or whatever, it's kind of hard to get back into it because there's a lot of resistance that builds up. So that consistency piece is so important because of that.
Yeah. So just, we're running out of time, but just a few quick like tips. So the Google Calendar, that works really well for us to share so we can both see what's going on. Batching. So like there's like actually psychological studies on this. Like when you switch tasks, there's like a lag time for your brain to start being effective in the new task. It takes like 15 minutes just for you to switch tasks. So as much as possible. So that's like what a text blitz is. It's grouping like activities into the same period of time. So as much as you can do that, whether that's inviting or preparing for a class, whatever, like try to keep those activities together because you build efficiency that way. I use this a lot. Maybe some others do too. Like who else thinks of random things they have to do throughout the day, but it's like you're driving or something, or you're in the shower, like you can't do anything about it. So like I have an Android and I'm proud of it. And I love it. It works really great. And it doesn't break nearly as much as Kristen's does. But I can just like squeeze it and this Google Assistant comes up and I can just put in like, remind me tomorrow morning to blah, 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 blah. And it says, got it. I'll remind you tomorrow morning to blah, blah, blah. And it actually does it. It's great. So like I always do that. And then it always pushes those reminders forward a day if I don't mark them off as done. So if you have an Android, use that, or find an app in whatever app store. Okay, so this is another big one. You might be wondering, what if my spouse or my significant other is not as supportive as one of us? So that's a big deal. And it is really important. So this is my advice, because whether you're committing 5 hours a week to this business or 15 or 20 or 30 or whatever, like there is a footprint in your family's life for this business. So this is my encouragement. You can tell your family the story that we started with about our BOGO epiphany today, if you want to. But really what it comes down to is getting really clear on who you are, what you're doing, and why you're doing it. Who you are, what you're doing, and why you're doing it. Because whether you're doing this part-time sharing or supplementing income or whatever pathway you're on, what you're doing is important for your family and for other families. Whether it's just getting your products paid for, like that's a big deal. Or if you're wanting to make a full-time business out of this, that's a big deal also. So if you get clear on who you are, what you're doing, and why you're doing it, and sharing that with your support system, whatever that looks like, that is the biggest start and the biggest key to carving out time for these activities.
And I think like the second thing is also always doing the things that you say you're going to do.
Yeah.
And like, so if your like supportive other knows that you say you're going to do it and then you actually do it. Like I remember there's this one girl I went round and round and round with, and her husband was not supportive of her doing a doTERRA business. But what I saw in her was that she was so undecided. She wasn't decided that she was doing doTERRA. So the effort she put forward was like halfway there. And ultimately I feel like, I don't know, she just kind of like wished she could have the life that we had, but she wasn't wanting to actually do the work of like inviting people to classes and sharing samples and stuff and teaching classes. And she wasn't convinced of that. But if she would have known that, I really think, and started to actually do it, actually share samples and invite and get people to classes, her husband would have been supportive. I also know the other end of it, where like when you start to do it, love Matt in the back. I also from the other end will just say that like when you do what you say you're going to do, the checks will come.
Yeah.
When you do it like the Leash Shedovy way and are sharing samples and investing in people. And those checks are really powerful for spouses. They just like change their mindset in new ways. So anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you have a spouse that is unsupportive, tell them to call me and we can chat. Okay. I know that might have opened up a whole can of worms, but hopefully that was a little bit helpful. And we can talk more if you have questions about any of this after the recording. Do you want to do this?
We're going to go ahead and transition to our recognition. And guys, you're just all crushing it. You're doing such an amazing job. So first off, Erica Roach is on the call, which I'm so excited about. And she is a brand new wellness advocate and enrolled her first 2 people in doTERRA. They had an awesome class in Groesbeck, Texas this weekend. And that is so exciting, Erica. And then Morgan Truitt also, I think that's Erica's sister.
Yeah.
Yes. Also is a new advocate and enrolled her first 2 people at the same class. So they had an awesome class together. And then Audrey Stake's team in South Dakota.
I couldn't list it all because it was so much, but
they're on fire.
Yes.
So Lisa has 3 enrollments so far this month. That's from Audrey's team. Her sister, Amy, has an enrollment. Marie Hansen has something. Miranda's brand new, she's like completely brand new to the business. And you know how we all at the beginning feel like we're not a salesperson. Well, she is rocking it and has somebody that was originally skeptical that's almost ready to buy a Natural Solutions.
So Marie enrolled someone at a vendor event and has had people reaching out to her interested.
That's awesome. And then
so this is from Audrey.
Audrey,
quote,
yeah, yes.
She said, "I'm just so proud of everyone stepping out of their comfort zone and feeling empowered to help others and meet with them, like help them get started." So she's talking about her whole team, which is awesome.
And Emily, Audrey's enroller, said
Michelle O'Connor.
Well, first she said that specifically about Audrey. Audrey is doing such a great job of, well, she's in it herself. She's taking a skeptical nurse and helping her get set up, but also just doing such a great job of empowering and supporting her team. Obviously, she's leading the way by doing it herself, and she's empowering them to do the same thing she's doing.
Well, Michelle O'Connor, I'm just going to read it because it's great. Stepped out of her comfort zone to meet with a florist and has an upcoming make and take class with her at Bar 3.
So awesome.
She spoke to a group of college girls last week, sharing her story, and has a class lined up with them early December. She and Audrey are working on an Oils of the Bible class for early December. She does an excellent job communicating with her team.
So Michelle will actually share next week a little bit about, she did a body image class for college students, and right after the class had a girl come up to her right away that wanted to host a class, and had like, were there 20 of them that signed up for your essential oil class from that body image class? Yeah. So majorly successful, and she'll share more details. 16, that's awesome. And then I think that's it for today.
Yep.
Yeah, we could say so much more.
Yeah.
It's always like, oh, we made it to 9 and got through everything.
Reminders and close.
Reminders.
I didn't put anything. BOGOs.
Reminder kit updates are important. Got my fancy little laminated sheets for our class today. And then Tyler always says this, but like, I just encourage you this week, especially BOGO week is such a great time to put some of this time management stuff into play. Like, do a brain dump after we get off this call of everything that you want to do for BOGOs or for your business in general this week. And then think about what's most important and what actually needs to get done every day. I always I'll actually look at my calendar and then I'll be like, okay, these are the top 3 things I need to get done on this day, this day, this day. And I plug it into my calendar so I remember, because otherwise I would not get all the things done.
One disclaimer, don't hear us say that every second of your life needs to be work.
There's a good question we can go into in Q&A. Yeah.
We want you to enjoy your lives, but residual income is worth it. So as much as you can prioritize working to build that pipeline, it's worth it.
Yeah. So we'll go ahead and stop the recording and then we're going to transition to Q&A.